Quite a few years ago now, I was at a friend's workshop in KZN to go and look at an Alpha, and that black F40 was there. That's where the photographs come from. The photographs where it was covered in dust with the DK sticker on it. Those were my photos that I took at the time.
Now, to understand the mystery of South Africa's black F40, you need to go back to the late 90s and early 2000s in New Zealand. There was a man named Steve Cox, and he owned a business named F40 Motorsports. Now, the owner of this business was obsessed with Ferrari F40s, and he really wanted one, but he never thought that buying a real Ferrari F40 would be a realistic goal in his lifetime. So he decided to build his own, and being as talented as he was, he did it really, really well. F40 Motorsports built 4 total Ferrari F40 replicas. Now, the South African car in question went to the US and only came to South Africa in about 2014. But then in 2015, this picture started making its rounds. And this picture caused a lot of mystery. A large number of people really thought that this car was real, and the rest of the lot either didn't care or thought it was a replica. But since 2015, pictures of this supposed black F40 haven't really caught any traction on the internet until now. And unknowingly to most South Africans who really wanted to know about the supposed black F40, it was actually spotted in 2017, just 2 years after the first picture of the vehicle started making its rounds. Sadly, for most of the people who wanted to know about this mysterious black F40, the images were posted onto an Instagram story, which only lasts for 24 hours at a time. So it caught no traction, and the mystery of this black F40 remained a mystery until 2024, a full decade after the car was brought to South Africa. So now we're going to talk to someone who has first-hand experience with this car. He's been able to actually look at it with his own eyes, and he also happens to be the person who took the pictures that I have posted of this vehicle. So tell us what we want to know. How did you discover this car back in 2017?
Quite a few years ago now, I was at a friend's workshop in KZN to go and look at an Alpha, and that black F40 was there. That's where the photographs come from. The photographs where it was covered in dust with the DK sticker on it. Those were my photos that I took at the time. And then I put it on my Instagram story. This is like in 2017. And I said, Ferrari F40 replica, whatever. And then I got on an 11-hour flight. And by the time I landed, like, Instagram had gone a bit crazy. And I had to sort of tell everyone that, no, that's a replica. It's not a real car. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And I did tell some people I know at DK about this quite a long time ago. Anyway, so a few years went by. I never really thought about it. I hadn't seen the car. I haven't seen the car in years, apart from that time that I saw it. But then, like, the mechanic who had been working on this car for the owner, like, he swore that it was real. And he even said things like that he had the VIN number run, with Ferrari, and that they'd confirmed that it was a real car, and, all this, which is, completely, it's nonsense. The car had a Toyota 1UZ engine in it as well. And if you've ever seen an F40 up close, especially in a 40 that's in bits, you take one look at this car and you can just see, like, everything on it is close, but not quite. And it had, like, fake center lock wheels on it, and, like, billet suspension parts, and so, like, everything on it was just, like, close but not quite, not Ferrari, even though it had some Ferrari parts in it, like gauges and stuff. So once like this argument started like kicking off, I was like, you know what, let me actually find out what the real story is about this car. And like when I saw it, it had New Zealand plates on it. And that was what led me to F40 Motorsports in New Zealand.
So I know you had a brief conversation with Steve Cox and some pictures were exchanged and whatnot. But most importantly, you saw this car with your own eyes. And I'm assuming that there's a possibility the owner was there as well. Was there effort from the owner's end to make it seem as if this F40 were a real F40? Or were they very open to you about the car being a replica?
Yeah, so I had quite a long conversation with Steve Cox about the car, and he even sent me photos of the car when it was in New Zealand, anything. So I was able to like actually draw a line under like this. The black F40 in KZN is not a real car. It's not a real chassis, even though like I'm not sure if the owner, I've never spoken to the owner. As far as I can tell, he or she was claiming that it was a real chassis that was sold new in America and then crashed, and that's why it lost its engine and transmission, and then like the chassis was sent to New Zealand and it was rebuilt there, and you know, it was converted to right-hand drive and it got the 1UZ and stuff.
And you know, years ago, when this car was photographed on the back of the trailer, 2015, people did really think that it was real. I thought it was real when I discovered it in about 2018. And now I'm realizing that it looked so real because Steve Cox and F40 Motorsport, they used real F40 molds. They used the real thing to make the replica thing. So the looks were super deceiving.
Well, I think when I debunked it years ago, like I kind of just said, you know, like as someone who's seen it up close, it's not a real car. Like I'm not, if you've ever sat like in an F40, you know, you can see the steel tube chassis like through the interior, like and stuff like that. And like one of the things that really stands out is like the X shape, like above your head, like in the roof. And like this car had like none of that. And although the body panels on this car were actually taken, like the mold was actually made from a real F40, which is why it looks so good. But then like they did things like when like the front clip folds forward, like the bumper stays in place, whereas like on a real F40, like the whole thing moves forward. And that was just done like to make it, you know, easier to like to live with.
So there you have it. Now you guys know the full story of South Africa's mysterious, not so mysterious anymore, black F40 replica. I do just want to quickly show you guys, before you leave, a pretty cool video I found of Steve Cox driving one of his F40 replicas around a track in New Zealand in, I'm pretty sure it was 2003. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.